Oh yeah, that's fucking. Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to the 1927 Club on a Saturday evening. I am standing in for Matthew, who's poorly bad. But, you know, we don't mind. We all look after each other. We all step in when it's required. One man who's always here is Mr. Rhys David Evans. He is a fixture on the channel. He never, ever is ill. How are you, mate?
Not bad. Still 100% recovered, but getting there slightly.
That's the way, mate. Just seeing that Reese's mum is in the comments as well. Good. Welcome, Lorna.
Happy birthday for tomorrow as well.
Indeed. Happy birthday. And I can never read this bloody name. 420 has become a member. Good stuff. That's what we like to see. Members make the world go round. So, obviously, look, there's no Cardiff City games on at the time being because it's international break. There is a big Wales match going on Monday, which has become a little bit more interesting as that group has taken a bit of a twist with Belgium drawing to North Macedonia yesterday, because if Wales were to pick up a victory, it's in their hands. So we will touch on that a little bit later. But what we wanted to talk about this evening, mate, was, does Brian Barry Murphy need to address anything? Does he need to make any changes, tweaks? Because we went from not conceding any goals and being unbeaten and 100% home record to losing 3 of the last 4, 2 of which against sides which, you really shouldn't be losing games of football to, in Newport County, who are rooted to the bottom of League 2, and Burton Albion, and who are, down the bottom of League 1. Obviously, Bradford is, they're up there in League 1, so I suppose you could say on any given day you can lose to one of those teams. But I guess my point is, and my question is to you, mate, and to the people, is, does the manager need to change anything, or does he simply need to go back to basics? And by basics, I mean back to what he was doing at the start of the season.
There's 2 things need to change for me. Firstly, the midfield needs to be worked on. Because right now, you got Winkel's sat quite deep, right, which is fair enough. I understand why he's doing ice shield in the back 4. And Ruben's in the 10, so he's further forward. So Turnbull's isolated on his own in the middle. So you put a man on him, there's nowhere to go then. And the midfield gets overrun. There's no midfield for us in some games then. Now, I don't know if it's because you can't play Winkel and Turnbull together. It has struggled when they play together. I don't know if you need more energy in something like Joe Waller instead. Maybe that'll work. But then maybe you need to push Winkel a little bit further forward to cover a bit more space rather than being so deep. And the second thing for me, I think you've got to work on is balls in the box. I think when you're going to play a Salic, you need to put a bit of pace in the ball when you put in the box. These slow, I don't want to call them, slow drifting balls in, it's too easy for defenders to get the end of them, and they clear the lines too quick. I think it's worked once in about 10 games, and that was against Leighton Orient last week with a little looping ball in over the defender, and he's there. He needs a bit of pace in the ball in the box, he does. But I would honestly start Robinson ahead of him, if I'm honest. I think Robinson's picking up positions in the box that are going unnoticed. I think he looks up for the ball again now. He looks like he's hungry for it again. And he's in a bit of form for me.
Yeah, I think with Robinson, like I've said this a couple of times recently, is like when he's in his scoring streak, you just got to play him because he's going to get 5 and 5, 6 and 6, and then he'll go quiet again for a bit, and then he'll do it again at some point later in the season. He's kind of very streaky. But so I don't disagree with anything you just said. However, I think Cardiff's issue in midfield is actually almost identical to Wales's issue in that when we have possession of the ball, our shape is effectively 4-1-5, and the fullbacks push up as well, which makes it more of a 2-1-7 at times. But what that does is, it's good, it's aggressive, it pins the opposition back, but it really reduces the options, particularly when you're a manager like both of the managers, Bellamy and Brian Barry Murphy. They both want to play through midfield, but that's no use if you're 2-8s or your kind of hybrid 8-10s, whatever you want to call them, are literally stood next to a striker. It provides no opportunity for them to pick up space, no opportunity for them to get in behind, and it becomes very one-dimensional very quickly, because if a team sits in against them, they are just, there's nowhere to go. And if a team presses really well against them, or they're a superior team in terms of quality, like England the other day, but like Belgium probably on Monday as well, it becomes very easy for the team. Now, my argument with Cardiff is, I think in League One that we've shown that we have enough quality to play that shape, but it only works if we move the ball quickly. As soon as we move the ball slowly, that shape becomes very, very easy to play against. Now, the problem is, I don't want to put it all on like one player, but David Turnbull is taking a lot of criticism for going sideways or backwards or giving the ball away. Now, I believe that he's technically a good footballer. I think he's a very good technical footballer, but I think the way that we're setting up is not helping him, and he's not helping himself by moving the ball quick enough. Even if he is going sideways and back, there's still a way to do that at pace that shuffles the opposition around and can create chances. And similar with Wales, you had Ampadu with Liam Cullen, who doesn't want the ball to feed. That certainly doesn't want the ball around the halfway line, because he's not a midfielder. He's an attacker who's playing in midfield. And then you've got Harry Wilson, who's trying to play as a 10, but we haven't got anyone with the technical ability to sort of thread it through the lines and get it to him in the spaces he wants, which means he's too deep. So going back to Cardiff, I believe it's the shape slightly needs a tweak. And I think the personnel as well. I do think there's a couple of bits which I would change, which we kind of touched on over text earlier, but let's talk about the sort of shape first. I do think it's as simple as just dragging one of those players back, even if he doesn't want to drag his, because he likes that attacking midfield. He likes the centre midfielders right up there. That's fine. Then maybe ask Joel Bagan or Kapakia, maybe to a lesser extent, or one of the centre backs to push into the midfield alongside Wintle to give an extra option and an extra body to allow us to build up the way he wants, because otherwise I think we just become very easy to play against. And I think teams are starting to find us out from that point of view.
It's one of those where I think, because Wintle is a little deeper, you do see it in the middle, and he can put a man in him quite quick, and then he's rushed on the ball and he's going to put it back or wide. But I think of last year, when you've seen him at his best, he was alongside Robertson, and Robertson was always the short pass available to him. So
Wintle didn't play for us. Did Wintle play for us last year?
No, he's on loan all season.
Yeah, of course he was.
So last year, you try and close down Turnbull, and it meant Robertson was freed up, so the pass was on for him. But I think now he's not there, or there's no one next to him because Wintle is a bit further deeper, that he's closed down so quick, there's nowhere to give the ball to, so it does go side to side. And sometimes it is a bit slow side to side, because you see the opposition get back into position, they slightly move across, and the pass is gone then by the time it gets there, which is why I think Fish has been outstanding for us with his cross-field passes. I mean, we've caught teams completely cold with that, we have. I just think that's okay now and again, but I think you do need to get the ball on the floor and move it quicker. And I think players have to be more responsible and move into space a bit more. I think like Newport County and Burton, we get a throw in. No one wants the ball. We're statues. The opposition.
But we do everything so slow, mate, don't we? Even taking throw-ins, we never take a quick throw-in. We never, the one thing we do really quickly is we take free kicks really quickly to keep the ball moving. But you never see us do that off a throw-in or a corner. Everything is very like let everyone get in place. So I guess I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned Will Fish, right, and his diagonal balls, which have been exceptional all season. And I think he's been really unfortunate to actually drop out of the side at certain points the last couple of games. But it's not just him. People talk about Fish and Lawler being our best centre-back pairing this year, which is, I don't even think that's a question. Like, it is a fact. Defensively, they've been our best centre-back pairing. But I think they're also a massive part of the way we play, because Fish switches the play and Dylan Lawler takes the ball into the midfield. But he's also capable of threading a ball, through the lines, through a gap, which will find a Joel or a Ruben who pop it off of one touch to Wintle, who will then play one of the wingers in behind. And you're talking 3 passes and you've gone from sort of halfway line to behind the opposition because you've moved the ball quickly off like 1 and 2 touch. We have the players to do it. I just think we just need to be a bit more, like flexible with the build-up shape. And I know, like, these days, like back in the day, right? I know you're a bit younger than me, but when we were young, when we were kids or when we were young watching football, formation was 4-4-2, say, or 4-2-3-1. And that was the formation that a team played in. And they did change shape, during different phases of the game, but it wasn't such a thing. Whereas these days now, teams literally will have like a pad of shapes, different formations for different phases of play, and when we've got possession and it changes so much, which is good. But I also think it takes the individual player IQ sort of what's the word I'm looking for? So back when I was younger, a midfielder, your job was just to go up and down, attack and defense. And if I've got me and you are in midfield, if you go forward, I stay back.
Yeah.
If I go forward, you stay back. That's all. And you did everything. You went everywhere. Now, I think sometimes we've got so obsessed with tactics and shape out of possession and all these different things that teams and analysts focus on. It is good in one way, but I think it takes the individual responsibility or IQ of a player just to feel, oh, look, Ryan Wintle's he's been a bit isolated here, so I'm Joe Colwell or whoever. I'm going to drop in alongside him to help him start the build-up play. Or I'm Dylan Lawler or Will Fish or Joe Bagan. I'm going to invert in next to Ryan Wintle to help us build up so we can get the ball out wide, or we can move it out there, or we can do whatever. And I think players have lost that off the cuff thinking, does that make sense? Like,
I know what you're saying, yeah. It's the old Michael Carrick, Edgar Davids. One will go forward, one drops back. They read each other's game so well. And I think the big difference is these days, a lot of, back then, football was a bit more fluid. So players had more freedom to do certain things. A 10 would just wander off, do nothing, but then all of a sudden, Eden Hazard would pick the ball up and create magic because he had the fluidity in the tactics to do. I think managers are quite rigid these days. Like, you need to play here. This is your role. Don't do this. Don't do this. Just do this. I think you see it a lot of managers now. They'll sacrifice the player if he doesn't listen. They'll come off or they'll get dropped. I do think that does stifle us. I think every team is looking for the next Makaleli or Kante. Yeah. Everyone wants every single team out there wants to have the ideal 6, and it's such an underappreciated role, but it's such a pivotal role. I mean, Man City don't operate without Rhodri. Barcelona couldn't operate without Busquets. It's such a massive role, and it's tough because unless you're great at it, you'll find flaws pretty quick. I'm not saying Winter's got flaws, but he's not. I don't think he's the best 6 you can get. He's not a great ball carrier. He looks so off-roaded as soon as he comes to feet. He'll run all day for you, and he will do some of the dirty work, like he gets stuck in that. I want my see North Shore there to do. He looks more of a better ball carrier. I think he can play a better pass. But again, you just need the right body now alongside him as well. You need the proper engine next to you, I think, to get up on the pitch, because you do need support. I think that's where we do kind of make mistakes. I think Turnbull, is more of an advanced 8 rather than more a regular 8 up and down the pitch, getting stuck in, offering support there. I've never been convinced by the Turnbull signing. Something I've always felt off about it. I mean, it always felt like a club signing to appease Bullet, and Bullet won't play him. Reza did play him alongside Robertson. They started having fantastic form together. Then he gets dropped, or then he gets injured. Then he comes back, he's not quite at it. Then he starts picking up form again, then he's injured again. I just think you do need to look at, I don't know, in January maybe bring someone else in and moving him out. But like someone said, the chat's there, Mafiko's a 6. I think he looks more energetic, more mobility.
Do you know the only reason I think he doesn't play is because of his
lightweight though.
Yeah, it's just his size and his age, isn't it? He needs to learn how to use his size and his stature to his advantage. And as he gets older, he'll use that low center of gravity as a strength rather than a weakness. But it's a big ask in it when you're 18 and you're smaller than everyone and the rest of it. What was quite interesting, I'll come back to the number 6, mate, because I've got like some thoughts on that. But I agree with you 100%. Like almost every team in the world is looking for that number 6 to just make everything come together, and it's the glue in it which makes all systems work. Whether you're playing a 3 at the back, a 5 at the back, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, everyone's looking for that holding midfielder who can really kind of knit it all together. But I wanted to talk to you about, it's still in the same sort of conversation, but slightly different, talking about the tweaks that he could make. And I agree with you, the midfield is something which I would just like to see a bit of a tweak to, whether it's a shape or personnel. But I was speaking to someone I'm trying to think what game it was. It wasn't the Newport game. What was the last home game before the Newport game?
Leyton Orient last Saturday.
Yeah, Leyton Orient, of course it was. So after the game, I was speaking to someone I was sat next to. And they were just sort of saying, like, they'd like to see us go 3 at the back. They think that we have the perfect system, perfect personnel to go 3 at the back, but not like the 3-4-3 or the 3-4-3. Yeah, 3-4-2-1 sort of thing, which a lot of teams use now. He was saying, like, go 3-5-2, like the old school sort of 3-5-2 with 2 up front. Now, I don't disagree with that because I do think it suits our personnel. However, because the side is so young, I wouldn't complicate it by going 3 at the back. I'd actually use the 3-5-2. So in possession, when our possession, we sit in like a 4-4-2 generally, and you'll have Ruben and the striker as the pressers, and then 2 banks of 4. Quite a common sort of out possession shape for most teams. I would like to see us in possession utilize that sort of 3-5-2 shape. We have the wingers with chalk on their boots anyway. Joel Bacon can very easily slot in alongside the 2 centre backs. So you've got the stability at the base. If you need to add someone to midfield from that 3, Dylan Lawler, even Will Fish, Callum Chambers, whoever it is, Joel Bacon, they can all do it. They're all capable to push up into midfield if they need to. Or if you need to sit as a 3, you can sit as a 3. We have to get the people around Ryan Wintle to allow him to be able to, because they want Ryan Wintle to effectively start a lot of the build-ups. But I'm not sure, and I go back to the start of the season, I'm not sure that's his game. Now, if you're saying to me, I want Dylan Lawler to start the build-ups, that makes more sense to me. If you want, who else is there? Will Fish to a certain degree, Joel Bacon maybe. I can kind of see it, but like I think Wintle's more of an old school 6 in that he recycles the ball, and he has got a progressive pass in him, I guess, but not. I don't think he's that progressive with it. One thing that I think would benefit us massively, if you go back to the summer, and we had a chat with Darko Giabi, and for whatever reason it didn't turn out. I had said at the time I thought his physicality and his athleticism would transform our midfield. Now, I think Ryan Wintle's done an excellent job this season. I think he's had very minimal bad games, probably 1 or maybe 2, where he's been really poor. But I also think he's starting to get tired. So we have to make a decision on whether we're going to put Mafiko in there, whether we're going to put Alex Robertson in there. They tried Joel Bacon last year. I don't think they can do that because he's already left back. So you've got to think about how you're going to rest Ryan Wintle, or if you don't rest him, he's probably going to pick up an injury. So you're going to have to think of a solution to it. With obviously we didn't sign Darko Gabby, so that didn't transform our midfield. Do you think if we're saying that Mafiko is not quite ready yet to play week in, week out, is there anybody else in that squad who you think you could put in the 6 and he can do as good a job as Wintle, or maybe potentially a better job than Wintle, or not a better job, but can offer different traits or a different skill set?
So, yes, I mean, we've seen Osho. He looks like a decent ball carrier. He does like a challenge. He's strong, calm with the ball as well, especially under pressure. I think we've seen that. So I suppose I wouldn't mind seeing him in the 6, because that means then Lola and Fish are going to be the centre-back pairing. So I wouldn't mind seeing him there if need be. Now, I'd keep Mafiko on the bench, because, again, if you're 3-0 up in a game, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, you can put fresh legs on, you can put a lot of energy with him on, and it'll be a great learning curve for him. If you're 3-0 up as well, it's just that cushion for him. I mean, he started league games as left back, so, fair play to him. He's more than happy to learn. My issue with Chambers at the 6 is we've seen it a few times last year. I mean, Barry Barnan, about 4 or 5 40-yard runs through the middle, no one got close to him. Now, nothing is Chambers. I don't think he has the legs to do the job of the 6 for us. I think you need a bit more mobility. Alex Robertson is the one for me, though. Again, if you can get him 100% match fit and playing at his best, he could be like a Steve McPhail for that back 4. He can pick the ball up, he can dictate play, he can pick a ball about, he's comfortable with his feet. He played a 10 a few times for us last year, and he looked brilliant. So he's got that vision and the ability. But there's a problem there, I reckon. So I can't see him playing. So it would be offshore for me in the 6 to give Wintle a break, if I'm honest.
So I put this up a couple of weeks back. It was a couple of days before he had a nightmare versus Leyton Orient, and I said I put it on Twitter and I said, hot take, I would play Osho in the 6 to give Wintle a break, and the reaction was quite negative. Like, people were saying, "Oh, no, I wouldn't do that," blah blah blah. But he's done it before. He did it for Luton for a bit. I think if you look at his skill set and the way he likes to play, like, he likes to take a bit of a risk, and not a risk in terms of try and dribble through 3 people like Callum Chambers did against Newport, with no one behind him, by the way. But sorry, that was a needless dig, but it did happen. But like Osho, he does like to drop his shoulder and carry into space. He does like to be quite progressive with his passing. He is quite big, he is quite physical, but he's also quick. And I think that recovery pace in a number 6 position, providing he reads the game, and I think he reads the game pretty well, it's just, can he do it? And I just think we have to find a way to help Wintle. He can't, same as Bagan, they just can't play every minute of every game. And I think the mistakes if you look at the mistakes that Osho made, the back pass, he's underhit the pass. If he does that, like, he's got 2 centre backs behind him.
Yeah,
and chances are the wind and the weather had probably an impact on the weight of the pass and that sort of thing, even if it was just in his mind. Physically, I think he's looked all right. But my general thinking with it is I would rather see round pegs in round holes. So if we're saying, I can only go on what I've been told and what I said in the video the other day, is that there's no problem with Alex Robertson. But, like, something's happening with him. He didn't get any minutes. He wasn't even in the squad for Australia yesterday. He wasn't even on the bench, which is a bit weird, because normally they just name everyone, don't they, in a friendly or whatever. So that was odd, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything regarding that. The other option, which I think is actually the best option in the short term, is Joel Colwell has played in the 6 quite a lot and done quite well there. Now, he's a decent passer, wins a lot of his duels, reads the game. I mean, I say he reads the game well. He's young, so I think sometimes young players don't always anticipate the play as well as, because that's something which comes with experience. But I don't think he does it badly either. But if Joel Colwell's your 6, you have to find another midfielder to play in the 8 potentially, or even if you drop Ruben back a little bit, you've got to find someone to play in the 10. It's a bit tricky, isn't it? Then we suddenly seem light because we haven't got Alex Robertson available for whatever reason. We feel like we're one light in midfield all the time, don't we?
Yeah, I like Joel. I think he gets stuck into a challenge. He's not afraid to get stuck in, mind. His ball carrying ability is outstanding. You see him just glide past players like they're not even there. So I'd have no issue with him as 6. But like we said, you need legs and mobility in front of him and out alongside him. Turnbull, I don't think, offers that. I think he's more used to a slower pace game from Scotland, if I'm honest with you. A bit more time on the ball, I think we see that. He'll have the odd game where he's outstanding, but then he'll have 4 or 5 games in a row where he's knocking out the races. I think it worked against Orient in some regard when Callum Robinson came on. Ruben sort of dropped deep to the 8. Robinson went to the 10, and he was making these late runs in the boxes, which is how he's got a second goal. He got on the end of a lovely run in the box. I mean, you could do that, but I just think if you've got Joel in the 6, just put energy in the middle, and then I'm trying to think who could be though. Just
while you're having a little think about that, like when we switched to a sort of, it was almost like a 4-4-1-1, wasn't it, with Robinson behind Salic. It wasn't quite 4-4-2, but he was like just off Salic. Every time we've done that this season and we've put Salic and Robinson on the pitch together, Ruben has always gone into a 2 with Turnbull. And on paper, that seems like a combination as a 2, which would be frightening defensively. But they've done really well as a 2 in that small sample size, right? But when they've done it well. It's suited both of them. But is that because in those games we've been chasing and the opposition has just been sat in? So it looks like they're doing well. Like if they are actually under pressure, would they get torn apart? I don't know. Like, could Turnbull do the 6 role? Do you think in the system as it is?
I think you could adapt his game. I think he does lack a bit of the mobility. I don't want to say he shirks from a challenge, but you don't see him getting stuck in the way Joel does. Joel will follow his man back and get stuck in. I don't think he does that. But again, when I mentioned earlier about the 3 at the back, I think if you play 3 at the back, I don't think you can play 3-5-2. It has to be 3-4-3. I think teams are sitting so deep now, we're utilising the wings and the width. And I think if you go to a 3-4-3, you'll have the winger and a front wide man sort of thing. So you've got the overlap / underlap if needed. I just think we're going to get balls in the box quicker and bodies in the box quicker. The amount of times you look in games, right, where, say down the left wing, Willock will have the ball, Begum will come up to support him, Ruben will come across to support him. So there's 3 players there now, all on the edge of the box, passed amongst themselves. Ruben should be making runs in the box at this point. He should be supporting others. We should overload the box and put the ball in. I don't think we do that quick enough.
Well, particularly when Robinson's the number 9, I think it's absolutely essential. Well, we use Ruben's height for defensive purposes. We use Ruben's height for flick-ons from free if we go long with a free kick or a goal kick. But we never seem to say to him, you never feel like he's busting a gut to get in the box for a cross. Now, is that because he knows the cross is not going to come? Or is it because he's been instructed to go build up and stuff like that? I think for me, we always work good wide positions. Even if we don't get in behind, we always work an underlap or an overlap and we kind of do it that way. I would just like to see us, if it's Bagan, whip it in. If it's Ashford on the right, whip it in. And if it's Willock and he does cut back and change the angle, as soon as he's got it onto his right foot, whip it in towards that far post and let Salic and Ruben and people get across it and try and get a touch on it. Because we have the players to do the damage in the box, but we don't utilize the fact that we do. And I do think we overpass a little bit around the box, but I also think probably in the last month, I do think we've put more crosses in and we've been shooting more. Like if you go back about a month, 6 weeks, we were like trying to walk it into the net constantly. And it was frustrating to watch. I think that has changed slightly. Like you can see we're making more of an effort to put it in the box and stuff. So Graham just suggested, what about Ruben going back as an 8 and then Kellyman in the 10? How would you feel about the Colwell brothers as the midfield 2 with Kellyman in the 10? Like, I think that's so aggressive, like so attacking. I don't know. Maybe if teams are going to sit in, maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe we need to kind of be brave and go, do you know what? If teams are just going to put 11 men beyond the ball, then we need to front load everything and have the most creative players on the pitch.
I mean, do we look at Newport and just wipe it from memory? Because I think so many senior players had such bad games that we can't count it really for individuals. Because you look at Leyton Orient game, Kellerman comes on the out wide, he sort of changes the game completely for us. Him coming on the right allowed Kapaki to just flourish a bit more. I think he had a bit more freedom. He had a bit, the overlap was on for him. He had a bit more pace when Gili come on. I prefer Kellerman wide. I think he looks a player. He likes to beat his man and take the ball into the box. If he crosses a bit more, I think it'd be even better. I prefer Ruben in the 10, if I'm honest. I think there's a bit more space and time on the ball in that 10 for him. I think further up the field, he sees the game differently. I think it suits him a bit more. I just think we need to get the players around him a bit. The players around him need to do a bit more. But teams are coming to us now, and rather than trying to play against us, you see, I want to see now a back 5 and 2 or 3 holding midfielders. They're trying to cut all the space in the back. So we need to get as many attacking players on as we can, but do more with the ball in the final third. I think, like you said, a month ago, Dylan Lawler doesn't score that goal against Leyton Orient. He runs after the pitch. He looks at the pass a month ago. This time he shoots. The goals we concede, though, you see what happens. Teams are putting balls in the box, and it's ricocheting, or it's
second balls, isn't it?
Pinging off someone and going in. You've got to do that yourselves. You've got to pepper goals. I mean, Burton Albion, Newport County. These are 2 teams which have been, before playing us, it was terrible form. We didn't pepper the goal. You've got to start, putting pressure on the keeper and stuff. Set pieces have become a bit better. We're putting the ball in the right positions. Movement looks a bit better off the ball on set pieces, especially corners. But I think we've got to do a bit more. Defensively on corners, mind, I think we look quite poor. I think we all sort of, what's the word? We sort of come together and allow the opposition players to have a lot of space off the ball, especially the edge of the box. And we're too slow to close them down there, we are. Oh,
God. I mean, that Leyton Orient goal, like the one he sticks in the top corner, Ballard, like it's a wicked goal. It's so good. I was right behind it. But we're so slow to get out to it. And look, it had so much bend on it that it might have just gone around Eddie blocking players anyway. But we didn't make him rush. We gave him so much time to set himself, think about what he was going to do, and then execute it. But so I want to go back to what you said about getting as many attacking players on the pitch at once. So remind me about that, because I've got a point to make about that. But before we do that, I want to ask you this question: as a team, is our weakest trait, if you like, second balls? Whether it's second balls in our own box, second balls in the midfield, second balls as forwards. It feels like whenever the ball drops, we have a real weakness, whether it's standing off or not anticipating, or just defensively. Since we've rotated the centre backs, instead of just sticking with the same 2, we look all over the shop. Yeah,
second ball is a major issue, I think.
But it wasn't at the start of the season, was it?
No, and it's frustrating, especially as a fan, because, again, sometimes it can look like a lack of effort, where maybe it's just a case of they're thinking, if I can't get there in time, maybe a thought of, I can't get there, I'm out of position, I'm getting caught out. Maybe it's that. I don't quite know what it is, but second balls is such a massive issue for us. I mean, and clearing our lines as well. I mean, sometimes just clear your line. Don't try and overplay at the back. I think Leyton Orient scored, didn't they? From what was it actually? It might have been.
I think it was Bagan playing on the edge of his box. He tried to do like a little flick, didn't he, inside, and it got intercepted, and then they had the ball. I think it was something like that.
Burton as well. Overplaying it. Sometimes just clear your lines. I think players are quite so scared of making mistakes. They do exactly what the manager's told them to the T. and it causes more mistakes because then they're thinking, I can't do what I normally do. I've got to do this now. I do think that does stifle them a bit, but it's not the manager's fault. Nothing. He's 11 games in charge.
Yeah.
Like you can't come to a club that's been in free fall for a few years, got rid of 15, 16 players, and try and implement a whole new brand of football. It's gonna take time. I've always said I'm more than happy for it to take time, as long as we can see a good football coming. And we got to say, some of it's been the best football we've seen since Dave Jones. So
it's definitely coming, isn't it? And I think what I will say, right, if you go back to all the goals that we've conceded this year, and probably the majority of the chances that we've conceded this year, I would ask two questions. And actually, I'll add something to that. So think about all the goals we've conceded, all the big chances we've conceded, and then think about the games we've lost. Have we created our own problems by we've allowed teams to score from mistakes, giving the ball away, whatever it may be? And also, I think we created our own problems by changing things which weren't broken. The back four was doing an exceptional, back five, if you include Trott, was doing a great job. We hadn't conceded a goal from open play. We were 100% rackled at home. There was no need to change the centre-backs. I said it before it happened, and I say it again. There was no need to change it. I understand rotating in the cup. Fine. In the league, that's your bread and butter. Got to.
Yeah, I think we have, again, the goals you conceded are down to our own mistakes. Clear lines or get out to the close the ball down quick as we can. Things like that, the basic things like that. But again, like I said, it's one of those where it's going to take a bit of time, but once it comes together, I think we'll be laughing. I think
yes,
I
think we'll give some teams an absolute pasting at some point this year when it all clicks.
Plymouth 4 against Plymouth. How many against Rotherham was it? Was it
3?
3 Rotherham, 4 against Leyton Orient. And I come away from most games thinking we should have scored at least 4 or 5 more.
Oh, mate, we should have scored about 5 against Wigan in the first half. We should have scored probably that against Burton. Like, we haven't been clinical enough yet. And JT makes a point, and I will say JT isn't always the most positive commenter, JT, but he's got a great point. Yeah, he says you wouldn't think we're 1 win away from going top again. Listening tonight, but we're not. What we're doing, we're not being negative. We're just saying we've lost 3 of the last 4 home games, 2 of which we absolutely shouldn't be losing. So, it's worth discussing where we've created our own problems, because I do think we've created our own problems. But what I wanted to go back to, sorry, mate, was you said about getting as many creative players on as possible, right? And someone else said, I can't find a comment, but someone basically said, Gavin says, elephant in the room, do you need a 6 in League One, or should you go all out attack from the start? Now, that and what you said about having as many of the attacking creative players on at one time, I would say the reason I thought it worked against Leyton Orient when in the second half when he makes the changes is because he didn't just chuck all the attacking players on. We still had balance. We still had a way of we were still playing through the thirds. We just moved the ball a bit quicker, and we had some fresh legs and some creative players on the pitch. You go to the Burton game, and it felt like he just chucked on all the attacking players, and then it was just like Ruben and Dylan Lawler picking the ball up on halfway, and then we were just saying to them, right, do something. And then all the players were just stood in a line, not really moving. And I think balance is important, even when you're chasing the game. And you can have balance by, going Ruben and Turnbull in the midfield, but it's got to be the right players around them. And those players, when you are overloading the attacking areas, they've got to move, mate. And I think that was one of the most disappointing things in the Burton game and in the Newport game, was just the lack of movement off the ball. So I would like to see us find our tempo again. I think that's the biggest thing for me, regardless of, tactical tweaks and the rest of it. And can this person play here or there, or should we play Salic and Robinson, whatever, all the different things that we've discussed. Most of all, I would like to see our tempo back, high press, and when we get the ball, moving it quickly, particularly off the transition, couple of times recently, I've seen us win the ball back 20 yards inside the opponent's half. Their players are in front of the ball, and we've ended up going backwards, and then they get all their players behind the ball. And it's a bit like at the start of the season, we'd have been in behind the fullbacks or through the middle and going for goal. Tempo's a big thing for me, I think.
I think this is why the international break is so important for us right now, because I think against Newport, he said Willock wasn't quite fit for it. I think we've had Robertson, who's not, again, we don't know what's going on with him, but not at the levels. Some of the players, they're looking leggy and tired, and I think, like we said earlier, the last international break, we were on form. As soon as we had it, we sort of, our form just crashed, didn't it, really? I won't say crashed, but it just dipped, did it? I think this one has come the right time for us. We need to get some of these tired players a bit more, a little break. NG's out for 3 or 4 weeks, I think he said. Yeah. So this sort of week and a half, so I think is great for someone like him because he doesn't really miss any games, and it helps his recovery. So I'm hoping other players come back fresh. Next Saturday is Reading at home as well. Perfect chance to get back on the rhythm of things, set a market out, show teams. We're gonna do what we like doing. So I look forward to next Saturday.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, mate, in this squad and this manager. I also think, like, on our day, when we're at it, I think we're so difficult to play against. And I still stand by, if we get a goal up, we are one of the most difficult sides to play against, because if you want to just let us have the ball, we'll do that. But if teams have got to chase and come out of position and press, that plays into our hands a little bit. I just wanted to say, Gav said about Lawler got injured in regards to them splitting up Lawler and Fish. Lawler was only out for 1 game. He had a knock. So, like, he could have been back in almost straight away. But it was, I take it he had to miss 1. But then after that, that was when we started chopping and changing the centre-backs again. And if you go back to last season, what was one of the most frustrating things was that whoever was in charge, they just kept swapping the centre-back pairing. I don't think I'd be surprised if we played more than a couple of games with the same back 4 all season. And look, that's going to be part of it because we've got a lot of games and we got 4 good centre-backs. But yeah, I was surprised Osho didn't play on Tuesday against Newport as well.
I was a bit surprised, but I don't know his fitness levels. Because it's something that's quite happening quite often. The players will play 1 or 2 games, and then all of a sudden they'll be out for a game with an injury or something's not quite right. Which is why, like I said, the international break has been massive for us. And again, I think we've been a bit lucky this month now because we got Reading, then Bolton, and then it's Wrexham in the Cup. And I think, is there 1 more game and then there's another international break? We have Arsenal and 21s in the Cup and an international break. So, there's not a lot of games, like, it's not going to be Saturday, Tuesday for the next 3-4 weeks. So there's a bit of a breathing room in between it. But yeah, it's just one of the nicest things this season for me so far, man, is every manager we've come up against have said the same thing. We're probably one of the best teams they've ever played against.
Yeah.
It's such a compliment to see other managers talk about how fantastic football we play in. And, I'm hoping Isaac Davis is ready to go when he comes back because I think we need his pace out wide. I think one thing we do lack a little bit of is a bit of that blistering pace. I think he does offer it to us. So I'm hoping he comes back now. He's fit, he's sharp, injury free, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, 100%, mate. FA Cup first round draw on Monday. What are you hoping for? Like, what sort of draw do you want?
Personally, a non-league side at home, just to give, again, some of the youngsters a run out. We can see some of them play. And you can also, not the fringe players, that's the wrong word to say, but some of the players who may not start in the week. Squad players, to give some minutes of legs. I don't want to say you want a confidence-boosting game because it's unfair in the smaller sides. You do want a side you can go out against and maybe beat 2 or 3-0 in the first half, if that makes sense, without being disrespectful. But it's also a good game to go against to avoid complacency. And it's a good chance to see who's mentally strong to go to that game and not who's not going to go, this is just non-league team X. It says, I'm going to put in effort in today. It's a good chance to see who's got the mental ability for that as well.
Yeah, I'd quite like a home draw against a non-league side who likes to play a bit of football rather than someone who's just going to lump it up to a big centre forward, because that's where we struggle a bit, isn't it? Like physically, you know, you
South
can
Coast
get like
Derby,
yeah,
Merthyr Town.
yeah, that'd be good. I think you know, you want a game I think where you can get Mafiko in there and you can get like. I'd get TJ Parfitt in there again just to see if he does it again. And if he puts in another performance like he did against Newport, then I think you could start going, right, okay, is he going to be the backup to Joe Bagan? You know, and I know that might sound a bit unfair to Louis Giles because he was away on Welsh duty, but there's definitely concerns about Louis, even though my argument is every time Louis Giles has played for the first team, he hasn't let us down. But I know that there's concerns that he hasn't kicked on generally in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. But I say, look at the first team games he's played, and he's done pretty well. So I also think the way we play suits him. And I think we could utilize his crossing ability because his crossing is unreal. Actually, going back to set pieces, I'm still baffled why David Turnbull doesn't take our corners, considering he was Celtic's set piece taker for a couple of years. The only one who I see, I got to say, Isaac and Joe Bagan actually have done a better job this year with the corners than other people did last year. But the pick of the bunch has been Kellyman.
Yeah.
His delivery from crosses has been corners has been sensational. I think I said it to you on
Tuesday
at the Newport game. Like, we've got to drop it on the keeper now, and he dropped it on the keeper twice. And the first time, no one was there, and I thought, all right, okay. Go, and we had another one a couple of minutes later, and I said, right, he's going to put it in the same place, so we've got to have, you know, why isn't one of the centre backs in there attacking the ball, or, you know, why isn't Robinson on the keeper? And he did it again, and again there was nobody in the vicinity of the keeper, and I was just like, come on, once fair enough, twice is poor. So I'd like to see us be a bit more aggressive attacking the ball, particularly if you know him and Joe Bagan I think have been pretty decent. Well, Bagan's been decent on corners, and Isaac has. Bagan overhit a couple, I think, I think it was the Leyton Orient game. But I just think with Bagan, I always put it down to mental fatigue because he's played too much football. Well, he doesn't, not too much. He just doesn't get a break, though, does he?
Two things for me. One, I don't think your full-backs should be taking corners. They should be covering the halfway line to stop the counter. For me personally, I'm old school like that. Your full-backs always on the halfway line. But then, why isn't any other forward players able to take a corner? That's last year we couldn't beat the first man. We had to take corners short because we couldn't beat the first man. It was so frustrating to watch.
I've been puzzled, mate, by like Turnbull. Someone put a clip up the other day on Twitter of the free kicks he scored against. That when he takes them in training, they're not up to it, I would assume.
It's a tough one because, again, I mean, Robertson took some last year, he couldn't beat the first man. Rolls was taking some. He's struggling again. And he's normally brilliant at corners, Rolls was. I think he had the most assists the last few years because of all the corners we scored from. It has been an issue set pieces have. The lack of movement in the box has been a major issue from corners for me. Now we're putting balls in the box. The lack of movement is always worrying. And I always think I'm always a fear putting the ball on the keeper in the corner because the ref will see the keeper just flop on the floor the moment someone goes near him, and they'll always blow up. We know it. As soon as the keeper goes down, the ref blows up. So I've always iffy about that, but the movement is non-existent.
Yeah, I agree, mate. This is an interesting one. Paul says he'd like Newport in the cup so we can right and wrong. Do you know what I would like? I would love to get Newport at home in the FA Cup and play them with our full strength squad in front of a packed house and absolutely just kind of remind them where they're at. Like they played a load of kids rather than, do you know what I mean? Like it was their cup final. And like JT says in the comments, he sort of says like, if it meant that much to Cardiff fans, all four stands would have been full. And, you know, there was no one there, was it? I was looking forward to it because I wanted to see the youngsters like more than it. You know, I wanted to beat Newport, of course, but I was really looking forward to seeing like Tankovic and Donkzu and these players. TJ Parfitt, I just thought was wicked.
Yes.
Wicked. Like, what about Troy Perrott, mate? Do you think? What about if say Joel Colwell was to play as a 6? Could you put Troy Perrott in there with Ruben?
it's a
Has he
big
done
ask.
enough for you?
It's a big ask. I mean, I don't think you start him yet. I think you've seen players like Mafiko come in and they'll have minutes here and there to help bed him into the squad, help get him used to first team football. I think it is a big ask him to come in and do a job from the academy straight away. But again, it's one of those where it depends on the manager sees him training. I mean, the manager might watch him in training thinking this kid's got something special. He's performing better than the other lads in training. So I'd trust the manager, but I don't know if I'd say he's done that for me personally to start yet.
Right. So next, Satan against the Reading, right? We're playing Reading on the Saturday back. Wintel's picked up a little strain, so he's not fit for the game. And we go in with a midfield of Mafiko and the Colwell brothers. Would you be worried, excited, or whatever?
I'm confident in Mafiko. I think he looks like something special. I think he will be.
Do you think that's the right people around him?
I think he'll be top 6. I think yes, because it's one of those where Joe and Ruben are both academy players themselves. They'll be in the same situation as him. They'll know exactly what he's going through in the game. And I think you've got players like that. You've got a solid back four behind him. They'll help him get through the game. And his energy is so good. His energy is brilliant. I mean, I think it was a Cheltenham in a cup. I think he was outstanding. The ball he plays for Isaac Davis to get his goal. I just think if he's got energy around him as well and mobility around him, they'll support him. If he loses a runner, you've got Joe Wall who can track a runner and get stuck in. I think they'll guide him through it. I think I'll be fine with them 3 if I'm also.
Okay. I want to touch on Wales a little bit just to finish off, mate. Only because the group has been kind of, I wouldn't say blown wide open, but the door has been left ajar for Wales, because if Wales can find a way to win on Monday, then it's in their hands, which is fascinating really to see. But I wanted to put this question to you first, mate. I know you haven't watched lots of the Welsh stuff, but and I put this to the people in the chat as well, right? As bad as Wales were and as unbalanced as Wales looked in midfield on Friday, wasn't it, or Thursday, if the 5 players from Cardiff City played from the start against England, would that team have been any better or any worse than what it was from a balance point of view?
I don't know. I don't know what to answer it. I mean, again, for me, international football is not a big thing for me. I struggle with it. I don't really enjoy watching international football. But I don't understand why he's playing England. I know Bernie kind of said it's because he wanted to see where we're at level-wise. Which is, I understand. I understand that side of it, right? But you're playing Belgium on Monday. I mean, them players could go in that dressing room after the game thinking, wow, we are nowhere near the top teams. We are so far off. And I don't want any sort of thoughts like that going into a game like Belgium. I would have thought they would have played someone, I won't say an easy tie, but like you said, Lithuania. Get us 2-3-0 win or a 1-0 win. Confidence is still going. It's not paper over the cracks, so to speak, because you can still play the England game after the Belgium game, if that makes sense. There's an international break in November. There's one in March. You could easily just go, we'll play England then. I want to see where we're at then. But right now, I would have thought that would be a poor choice playing a team like England before Belgium, because again, you lose them 2 games in a row now, and all of a sudden everyone's going, he's just lost 2 in a row that we have. It's not looking good, is it? You don't want that sort of... I think you want that sort of voices and talking in the dressing room sort of thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, the most worrying thing for me has been that the last couple of performances, the last 3 performances, more than the results, is the performances. They've been very poor, very unbalanced, and everything which Bellamy did well in the early part of his reign, we're not doing. We're not moving the ball well. We're not pressing well. We look completely out of our depth, and he looks tactically like he's kind of only got one way of playing, whereas his first couple of games against Turkey, he played like a 3-5-2, I think it was. And then against the team which he was a bit more could be a bit more expansive and play a bit more open at home, he used this sort of 4-3-3 with 2 really aggressive number 8s. And he stopped doing that now. And he's just playing this really aggressive midfield, which has got basically 2 attacking players playing as 8s. And neither one of them really wants the ball on the halfway line or anything like that. So it's difficult, mate. Honestly, it's been a difficult watch. Like Kazakhstan, if they were a better team, they would have absolutely smashed us to pieces. And if it wasn't for Dylan Lawler, one, he stopped a few goals, but he also was the one who kept getting the ball to Harry Wilson to create the goals. And I just thought, Jesus, imagine we didn't have him. Like, what would we be? And then we played the same team, more or less, against England. And I was just like, Jesus. But
I've seen some lineups. I think Sheehan, again, I don't know Sheehan. But if you've got to play with Ruben on the bench, why can't I play with like Ruben? You got creativity there. I know we like Skip Pacquiao, and he's a big fan of Isaac Davis, so them two will probably get minutes before Ruben will. I don't see why you take Ruben if you're not. You know, we're not going to play. We know he's not going to get minutes anywhere. I mean, it feels like a slap in the face. He gets called up now just to stop questions being asked, I think.
Well, do you know what makes me chuckle, mate, right, is he really likes Liam Cullen. And it's not a Swansea thing, like, because I think he actually got a couple of good performances out of Cullen for somehow. But Cullen is a number 9 or a number 10. Like that's what he is. That's his position. But he's playing him as a number 8 alongside Harry Wilson, who's also a number 10 or a winger. And Cullen, to me, is all right. He works really hard off the ball. He'll press and all that. Joel Colwell does all the things that Cullen does off the ball, except he can tackle. He's press resistant. He wants the ball under pressure. He can beat a man. All these different things. And I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, why not play a midfielder in midfield who's got the exact traits that Liam Cullen has got? He's just a better footballer. And it feels like Craig is trying to be, he's so worried about being accused of being biased towards Cardiff or the Cardiff players because he's from Cardiff and stuff like that. And he even said at the event he wanted to unite people and he didn't want to do the Ayatollah at the live event, for instance, stuff like that, because he wanted to be representative of the whole country. I respect that, mate. I think that's a real good thing. But I think he's gone too far the other way, whereby he's not picking players because they're from Cardiff, because he feels like people will say, oh, he's only picking them because they're from Cardiff. When actually, between Cullen and Joel Colwell, Colwell is more suited to the role. Like, it's round pegs in round holes. If you're going to play as a number 10, then Cullen is better than Joel Colwell in that position to a certain extent. I think it's questionable, but you could at least make the argument that he plays at a higher level, he's more experienced, etc. Whereas as a number 8, Cullen is just not that. And yeah, I get really frustrated with it. But Belgium drawing last night has given Wales hope. And I would like to think that Craig Bellamy woke up this morning and was, right, fresh plan. We're playing Belgium. We know we've got to be defensively secure. We need to be much better and much more compact in the midfield. But we also need to create chances on the transition. Who are the best people to play in the system that we want to play and like play them in their right positions. So for me, the midfield has to be Ampadu, Jordan James and Harry Wilson as the 3, because they're the 3 best midfielders we have. Anything other than that, I'm asking questions. And I include, if he played Ruben or Joel in that, I'd be asking questions because those 3 should be playing. And Wales got to get up. If Wales can, Belgium do not like playing Wales for whatever reason. Historically, they struggle against us when they need to beat us. So he's got to get something from the game. And I think balance is important. Like we talked about it earlier, didn't we? Like not just chucking all your attacking players in. It's about having the balance to create the chances and whatnot. But I will see, mate. We'll see. It was weird that he dropped Sorba Thomas, who's been one of the best players under him since he took over. But they made to play David Brooks on the left wing. I don't think David Brooks has ever played on the left wing before.
But you just said, no, Harry Wilson played in the 8, Cullen played in the 8 as well. He seems to have a fascination of 10s playing in the 8s. Like you said, I don't see Ruben as a 10, I see him as an 8. He's playing Harry Wilson, who's naturally a 10, as an 8.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a case of, I want to be able to say, I proved you all wrong. I can make a player a better player if I do it my way.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if he thinks that the 10 naturally has more ability with the ball at his feet. Therefore, if I drop him deeper, I play 3 of them together, 2 of them together, the ball will go through them a lot more and they'll create more. But I suppose when you do that, there's such a big gap between the midfield and the front line. You're missing the link up in the 10 then, really. So where you want the 10 to be is in the 8. So I don't understand that, if I'm honest. That confuses me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Barry Murphy uses that sort of shape a lot, like the 2 8s are right up, forward and up alongside the striker. But I do understand, like, in terms of they're trying to be aggressive, but you've got to pick and choose who you do it against. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Cardiff get bloody Liverpool or Man City in the FA Cup, I'd expect Brian Barry Murphy to be much more compact in his midfield and the shape out of possession than if we get Chase Town or someone in the cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's where I think Bellamy slipped now, or where I think he's overthinking it, because I think early on in his tenure, he was pretty good. Like, he flipped, depending on who he was playing. He went from the sort of 3-5-2 to the 4-2-3-1. It's a strange one, mate. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. And he contradicts himself so much in the press conferences. And I really like him. Like, I really like Craig. But I found his press conferences quite difficult to watch recently, because he says one thing and I'm thinking, but that doesn't add up to what you're doing with your selection and your tactics and your 11. And I don't know, mate. It's a strange one. They just got to find a way to win at the end of the day, or at least get a draw on Tuesday. Yeah. But Belgium do struggle against us, mate, historically. Like, we're a bit of a bogey team for them. So Cardiff City Stadium is usually full for the Wales games. So hopefully the atmosphere and everything. And I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't be shocked if Isaac Davis gets like a surprise start, because Brennan Johnson's been shocking for Wales for a long time. Craig really likes Isaac, tried to sign him at Burnley. Isaac's been in pretty good form. He's direct, and he's someone I think Belgium wouldn't know that much about. Daniel James is out, so he's another sort of your wide options. I don't think he will, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he starts, and I wouldn't be shocked if Dylan Lawler starts. Kapaki out. He did come on Friday. He did all right, but I don't know. I don't see Ruben. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he brought on everyone except Ruben, to be honest. It feels like a bit personal. But anyway, it is what it is, mate, isn't it? It's yeah, I don't quite know what to make of Wales's last few performances, to be honest. I really don't. Let's have a look at some of these comments, mate. Paul says, Parfitt's pace surprised me. Watched him a few times in the 21s, and he's a centre-back, which is a good thing for these young players, can play other positions. Yeah, Parfitt and Kingdon, who were the fullbacks. Kingdon came on in the second half. I thought they were both really good. Kingdon was really good going forward as well, on the right back in the second half.
I like Parfitt. They tried putting pressure on him. I think he stood up to it really well.
Yeah.
He couldn't bully with the ball. His first touch was brilliant as well. His control, I think, a fantastic game. I was excited to see him. I think he's got a massive future. And like I said, I keep saying on the other shows, full credit to Gavin Chesterfield and Darren Purse. Because again, before these guys came in, we weren't putting nothing from the academy through, really, were we? Ruben was probably the only one come from the academy, and Isaac. Big, we signed from Stampton's academy, but now we got all these players come from nowhere, all getting minutes. Though we got people talking about Cardiff academies bringing a player X, Y, Z. Man City are coming sniffing around some of these players. You got Man United sniffing around our players. All credit Darren Purse and Gavin Chesterfield. They don't get nowhere near the amount of credit they deserve.
Of course not, mate. Of course they don't. But I sometimes I feel like I can't say it because people just go, "Oh, it's because you're mates with Darren." So, but it's like, it's true, isn't it? Like, you look at some of those players, mate, right? Like, some of those players probably may not play for Cardiff's first team, but some of them might not play for Cardiff's first team because Premier League teams come and take them before they get a chance. Troy Perrett's got Premier League interest already. Who's the other one? Can't remember who it was. I think it's one of the fullbacks. But there's a few of them, mate, who've just already been flagged by Premier League teams. Dylan Lawler, mate. I don't even think he's going to be here next year, me.
But it's one of those where I see things all the time like Cardiff release player X or loan player X, Y and Z, or this player's left to go to another club in non-league, whatever. And I always see the same comments. So if they're not good enough, why do we sign them? This is ridiculous and stuff. If you're a youngster now, right, and you're looking at going signing for a club, right, you look at Cardiff City and you see there's two pathways at Cardiff City. You either go to the first team of Cardiff and get some game time, or you get a career in football. There's no like, he's gone off and he's retired at 18 years old. He's got a career somewhere now. He's got a pathway.
Spot on.
Is it Malachi Walcott? Plays for York now. He's a brilliant centre half for him. It's things like this. So when you are looking to sign for an academy, you see Cardiff. There's a pathway now to either first team football elsewhere or first team Cardiff. You got to bring the reputation of the academy up before you get the players in. If you get the reputation right, mate, the players follow. And I think this is something that's been going on for a while, thanks to Dan Person and Chesterfield. So, all credit to them. I think they don't get nowhere near the praise they deserve for it.
But that's also why when people jump on, every time the 21s lose, there's certain people will have a go at Darren or whatever. And it's like, but it's because they don't understand what the under 21s is for.
Yeah.
The under 21s and the academy system is not just, of course, it's to try and get players to the first team. That's the first sort of directive, if you like, to try and get players ready to play first team football. And when they get their opportunities, it's up to them to take it. But it's not about winning things at under 21s level. Like, that's a bonus, winning games, winning trophies, whatever. But most of all, it's about preparing those players for a life and career in football. It's why they try and get them to do their coaching badges and do different like analytics qualifications, things like that in their spare time, so that, if they get a horror injury that ends their career at 19, they've got something to fall back on. Or if they, get released and they decide they don't want to go to the clubs that are offering them a deal because they're too low down the pyramid or whatever, they've got something to fall back on. And if they do have a career in football, they're fully prepared to do that, whether that be at Cardiff City or elsewhere. It's helping them to become men, but it's helping them to become men in a game that is brutal, is very unforgiving, very trying mentally, very trying physically, and it's helping them prepare for that. And sometimes I think people who are critical of the 21s, they forget that it's not about winning football matches.
Well, this is the thing, because I think Bailey was in charge under 18s, I want to say. And a lot of people say, he won all his games. He won every game. I think that's great, he won all the games. But how many players from his side can you name now? Only Ruben, Joel, I think Joel was in there, and Isaac. 3. But you look at Alan Purse's teams now, right? All right, they might have lost 10 out of 20 games, whatever. How many of them kids have actually gone into the first team and played football now?
They're actually, I think, unbeaten in about 4 or 5 games now, aren't they? But yeah, I take your point. Like, it's not about that, is it?
This is what and I think Darren said just before, didn't he? The live event. It's difficult for us to loan players out because we're classed as an international transfer when we loan in clubs to England. Because we're in Wales, it's classed as an international transfer rather than a sort of regular domestic loan, I think, isn't it? So I think we're limited to what we can do, which is why players go to the Welsh leagues quite often rather than going to, everywhere else. But like, I see the same people saying, Ollie Tanner went on loan to Bromley. He should go to a League 2 club. We sent Joe to a League 2 club. He shouldn't go there. He should go to a League 1 club. He went to a League 1 club. He didn't play much. You can't win. But then the same argument is...
I agree with you.
The same argument then is, we shouldn't get Kellerman on loan. That's too embarrassing for Kellerman to come to a League 1. You can't have both ways. I mean, it's frustrating. A lot of these youngsters are having careers in football, which is fantastic.
I don't know what that noise is.
Sounds like a fan.
Is it gone now?
Yeah, it's gone.
So I was just looking, right, Wales Online did an article a while back saying what happened to the the team that won the league under Craig Bellamy, the under-18s team, like what happened to them. So this was written by Glenn in March this year. So it's fairly recent, but it's looking at the players and where they are now. So Jordan Duffy was the backup keeper that season. He let in 9 goals over 4 games. Currently plays for Cornwall in the Jewson Western Football League. George Ratcliffe was the first choice keeper. He now played for Pontypridd for a bit, and now he plays for Connors Quay in the Welsh Prem. Jack Davis, I believe, is still with the club. He's still. Jack Davis, different Jack Davis. He's in the Cymru Prem. He went to Cardiff Met. He's now at Cardiff Ely. Connor Davis is down in Western-super-Mare. Ryan Kavanagh is with Barry Town. Ben Margetson is playing for Barry. Taylor Jones playing for Cumbrian. Lanecki now. Tristan Jones plays for Carmarthen Town. Joel Bagan in the first team. Keenan Patton is with Newport. Mayembe earned 2 caps for Zambia, but has retired from football due to injury. Isaac Davis, obviously. Sam Bowen is Solihull Moors. Dan Griffiths is playing for Peterbont and then Pontypridd. Cian Ashford. So, Eli King. So there is a few who've gone on to be in the first team, but that is quite a high percentage, actually. I was expecting much less than that from that team. Will Warnock. I wonder if he was in there because his dad was a manager, do you reckon? Kieran Evans. So 4 out of the squad, which are in the first team, which people will say, only 4. But that's a really high.
That's a lot, to be fair, yeah.
It's a high rate because
then
so many fall through the cracks, mate.
I don't want to say something harsh. Eli King hasn't really broken through the first team, I wouldn't say yet, because the chance he's got this year, now he's injured. This would have been his breakthrough. So that is a star above his name, sort of thing.
We're missing him, aren't we, now? He'd be the ideal sort of
brilliant for 6 right now. But again, you look at what Dan Pearce has done, and you see all the players that come through under him, and you're thinking the difference is massive.
But you look at the players now which are ready to come through as well in the next year or two, and there's some just incredible talent. I just worry that we won't be able to keep hold of them because there's almost too many to give them the opportunities. So they'll go and get the opportunities to play first team football or go and play in the Premier League. Like Troy Perrott has got interest, and it's just
there's a similar issue a few years ago, remember? There was at the time we had Sean Spencer, and Ruben Colwell, and the club said you couldn't keep one of them. Spence went to Palace. I think he's now playing with Aaron Wildig, I believe he said last time we spoke to him. And we kept Ruben. And I'm thinking, I understand that we've obviously made the right choice there. But you think if there's a chance for both of them to make it, keep both of them. If one needs game time, loan one out. I mean, it's I don't know.
Cutthroat, mate, isn't it? It's cutthroat game.
I mean, look at Eze. Every Eze, I read his career, released at Arsenal, released at Millwall, I think it was, or released at 4 or 5 different clubs. Ends up playing at Wickham, then Millwall, then Palace, then back at Arsenal again. After being told he wasn't good enough for years.
But there's so many players, mate, who, my 18, they might look like they're not quite, they're not going to be ready. But 5 years later, at sort of 22, 23, they're ready and they could be a whole different level, a different player. They've changed physically, mentally, technically, whatever it may be. And that's why I got really irritated where we were stood in the Newport game when there was a guy behind us who started having a go at Tankovic, because he got pushed off the ball. And I was like, mate, he's fucking 16. It's embarrassing, but
it gets got often. I think first half of games, sometimes, one misplaced pass after 5 minutes and there's a big groan and moan and stuff. And that's got to go on to the pitch and the players I'll have.
Oh, mate, you could Leighton Orient, and we'll finish up on this, right? After about 5 minutes, we'd had a couple of passes where we were trying to move the ball quick. And I think it was Isaac, I can't remember who started right back in that game, but NG or Kabakio play it into Isaac. Isaac tried to pop it off first time to Joel into midfield, and it just went only slightly behind Joel. So it, breaks down. Big groan. And I said to my son, I said, Isaac looks tense, like he looks like he's feeling the pressure, because there was a lot of pressure on that game because we'd lost we'd lost against Bradford. There was a little bit of negativity for the first time under this manager, and they're all so young. I just said to him, I felt like they were a bit tense and they needed to just relax and just play. But every time we misplaced a pass, every time there was a heavy touch, every time whatever, it was just a big groan. And you could see the pressure was growing. And it was almost like when Leighton Orient scored from Osho's mistake to equalise, that was when we started to relax.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like the mistake had been made and it had been led to a goal. And like now they just played and they forgot about it. But there was clearly like that negativity is going to feed down. And this squad is so young, mate. I just wish I know it's easier said than done in the moment. Sometimes it's really frustrating. But particularly in the league games, where they're the games that mean something. I'd love to see us as a fan base generally just get behind the team no matter what for 90 minutes, no matter how badly it goes, no matter how many mistakes are made, goals are scored, whatever, just continual support. And, if it's been so bad that you need to vent, then vent like after the game. But like during the 90 minutes, I know it's unrealistic, but it's just the way I feel, because I just think the squad is so young. Even the senior players are pretty young outside of a couple, like Salic and Robertson and Osho. They're all like mid-20s and they like mid to late 20s. There's only really Chambers, I think, who's like what you'd consider like old school experienced, like 30 plus, isn't it?
I think it was the first game, was it? Or the second game of the season. Ryan Wintle was the oldest player by 5 years, he said, on the pitch. And he's 28, yeah. I think he was.
It's mad,
and I'm thinking that is a lot of pressure on the shoulders of senior players. Not to carry youngsters through, but to guide them through a game, because they're going to make mistakes and they've got to talk to them through it. And again,
I think that's why Mafiko hasn't played as well, mate, by the way, because I think Wintle's in the middle of the pitch and he's the experienced head, isn't he? If you put Mafiko in there, you've got no experience.
Yeah, and you do need that vocal sort of guy to get talking through the game. I think, I don't want to say that's an issue, but leadership has sort of been a problem for a few years now.
Dylan did a good job. Again, sorry, mate, to interrupt you. Dylan did a good job. Dylan Lawler did a good job against Leighton Orient of just calming everyone down. You could see he was picking up Osho and talking to him, and I thought fair play, like 19. But he's been a captain all the way through, so I guess it comes to him naturally, I would assume. But he'll be captain of Cardiff before the end of the season, like for a game, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, but I just think you need one or two more, especially further up the field, to talk the boys through it. I think Robertson is starting to do a lot more. I think I've noticed him now. I know he's become a bit of a leader. He's stepping up. I think when Mafiko got dragged off against Rotherham at 30 minutes, first played up to him to check up on him, Callum Robinson. I think you've seen him step up to the mark now, which is great to see. I just think we need one or two more senior pros, especially in certain games where it becomes a bit more dogged. You want that Joe Rawls-esque kind of player to drag you to. I think January now, I think we might be very interested to see where we are and what the club allows the manager to do.
Try and sign Barry Bannon.
I
don't think he would come now, but we should have signed him 2 years ago when he was it 18 months ago he was available on a free.
I 3 years ago I was saying Oliver Norwood. I think before now.
Yeah, it's a good shout. I like
his legs have gone now, but set piece specialist. His vision is outstanding. I think he won promotion with 3 sides to the Premier League. I think Reading, Sheffield United, and Canberra, the third team. But again, he's a top player as well. These players are available out there. I just think we've waited too long now, and it's past the best.
Yeah, Bannon will finish his career at Sheffield Wednesday now. Like he's leading the charge, like with the players not getting paid, but they're still playing and stuff. Like he's behind all of that, sort of leading them. There's no way he'll leave, like unless they fold, which I hope they don't. As much as I dislike Sheffield Wednesday for the way they treated Darren Moore, I would be gutted if they folded because they're just such a historical club. Like, you know, FA Cup semi-finals used to be played in their ground. Like it's be such a shame, but it's because there's like the Wild West, mate, with these owners. There's no one reining them in, no one holding them to account.
That's the thing.
You got the Glazers buying Man United without spending any money of their own money, like buying it against the club. Like the club paid for itself. Like, it's outrageous, mate.
That's wild.
And rebranding and
well, they've said now that there's a new legislation being put in place and a new person in charge, and they kind of said things like, you know, we should be able to impact the ticket prices of fans. We should be able to do this. I'm thinking they don't do none of it because money talks. As long as money rules the roost, you're going to have no power, let's be honest.
You know, the other day when you was with Matt and you did a record-breaking show, how long was it?
About an hour and a half, I think it was.
Oh, I can't do another 9 minutes. So that record's going to have to stand. I got to get up at like 4 o'clock to take my son to work. No, I've enjoyed it, mate. It's been a good chat. And as always, like I say, like, you know, anyone who's been at the end of criticism, like even Liam Cullen, like it's not personal, just talking about our opinions of the game in Wales's case there, but also with Cardiff, like I started to think like, oh, have we just gone on like really negative for like an hour? But like it was not meant to be. It was just you have to keep evolving, and I think we've become teams are going to work us out as the season goes. So you have to find different ways to accommodate that and to beat that, because teams are going to stick 11 behind the ball. They're going to work out, or they like to switch play. They like to, you know, Dylan Lawler likes to bring the ball out. So let's let him bring it out. And then two strikers jump on him and try and pinch the ball off him. Or, you know, teams, whatever it may be, they'll come up with plans to you know, every team's got like a couple of analysts. So they're all going to look at that. What was I saying? I was speaking to one of the coaches at the club, and they were saying like about what they look for from when they do the opposition analysis. They look at how they build up from goal kicks, how they try and build up from their own third, and how the shape of their press is when they're in when we take our goal kicks, if you like. And that's the three sort of main things they focus on, which was quite interesting to me. But I'm a bit of a nerd with all that stuff, I suppose. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, so teams will work it out, like how we do all those things. All teams have got analysts, so you got to find different ways of playing or different ways to combat that.
I think you got to be fair as well. Let's be honest. If we went through every episode saying it's fantastic, everything's brilliant, the moment things go wrong, you got to criticise for being too positive. So I think you have to be realistic. And again, we are third in the league, 3 points off from the top. I think it's one win from the top. It's brilliant. It's 11 games in. Long may it continue. But I think if fans can pick out 1 or 2 things to improve on, and the club can pick out 1 or 2 things to improve on, things will get better. So I don't think there's anything negative about it, really.
And just lastly, I will say that that initiative they've come out with over the last couple of days with schools. Have you seen that?
No.
So they're giving tickets to schools, and the more tickets that get used, they get points for the tickets. And there's a league table then. So it's like a school league table. So the more tickets you use, you go up and down the table and stuff. I think that's a really, really good idea, because they need to do something with a family end. I've never seen the family stand so empty as it's been this year. And I just think if that's a way to fill it up, great. And then, you know, kids like to compete and see their school in the league table and all the rest of it. Good idea.
It's a great idea. I've spoke to a mate who was moved from the family stand. He said he didn't like his kids being so close away, fans shouting abuse and stuff. I think that's
a never-ending discussion, that, mate, isn't it?
That's a big problem, I think, because again, he said he doesn't want his kid near that. I totally get it. I totally understand.
There's only one person to blame for that, mate, and that's the stadium manager. They will never change it.
Nope, I know it's disappointing. It ruins the atmosphere. I watched the Norwich Ipswich derby, I think last Sunday, I think it was. The fans are touching each other, basically. There's a little
going back and forth, chanting and the rest of it.
There's a little black row line of covering 3 seats across, separate fans. You look at Cardiff games, there's a massive block of seats empty to separate fans, either side. And I just think it's just absolute overkill. There's no need of it. Of
course it is. I wonder what happened to that guy who came on the pitch in the Newport game. He did not like getting rugby tackled, I'll tell you that much, by the steward. He was all smiles, and then that steward flattened him, and then he got really nasty really quickly.
I'd love to know who he was as well, because a lot of people say he was a Newport fan. To celebrate, and then someone said he was a Cardiff fan, so I'd love to know who he was.
Well, he made a beeline for the Cardiff players, didn't he? He wasn't going to the Newport players, so I don't know what. I couldn't quite work out what he was doing. But yeah, he got fucking wiped out by that steward. Fair play. That steward though has had his football boots on for a long time. He's been waiting for that opportunity. Yeah, well, he's been waiting for that opportunity, and he wears his boots to every game, just waiting, and he was a good one. He absolutely spear tackled him. But yeah, he didn't like it. But what do you expect, innit? What do you expect? If you go on a pitch, you expect to get flattened, don't you? I would anyway.
End of the field of play, I think someone said 3-year ban. I thought it was a life ban, but
3-year automatic ban, and depending on the level of aggression or what you do, can be lifetime ban. And what was it?
Affect us as well. That's the thing. The FA will probably fine the club now.
Yeah, probably. Someone was telling me that it's something to do with the level of aggression as well. If you're aggressive with the stewards, you get done for assault or whatever. But because initially there was the guy who wiped him out, and then another guy they just had him by the arms and they were taking him off, and then he got a really leery. So then a third steward come across and the three of them were grabbing him. He was not happy as he was going off, but I'm not sure what he expected,
But again, it's a silly thing to do. I mean, I watched the Jack Grealish incident years ago. The Birmingham fan come on and punches him in the back of the head?
Yeah.
I remember Chris Kirkland against Leeds. A fan comes on and slaps him, and Warnock blames Chris Kirkland for going down too easy. Yeah. Things like that. So I understand why stewards are straight on him. It's dangerous.
Oh God, mate! Especially this day and age, don't know what someone's carrying to you and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But there we go. Right. Thank you, mate. As always. Tomorrow lunchtime should be dropping a Wales preview, and tomorrow night, member, I forget which one it was. A member asked for me to do a little show, basically pitting Brian Barry Murphy up against Craig Bellamy, and kind of seeing how they match up as managers and stuff, and the job they've done for Cardiff and Wales. So we'll have a bit of a discussion about that. We'll look ahead to the Wales game, and I'm sure we'll talk about many other things. But join me for the breakdown on Sunday, 8 o'clock-ish, and it's always a good time. Plenty of interaction and all that good stuff. My chat has been freezing in and out, so I haven't been able to look at all the comments today, so I do apologize. But thank you to everyone who has commented. I'll make sure that's fixed for tomorrow. I don't know why it keeps doing it, but it's loading up now as I say. So a few people saying, JT said, MORRISON ruined 3 at the back for him last year. Alex says we need a number 6 in January. JT said Osho will be horrible as a number 6. Halftime Oranges says Joel at 6 would be good, but he thinks Osho would be a guaranteed red card. Halftime Oranges also said, could we not give it Bagan, Fish, Lawler, NG with Campacchio at the 6? It's an interesting one.
He's played there. I can't remember which game. Yeah, I can't remember which game was it. I think maybe.
He came on as a sub, didn't he?
He pushed up into midfield.
In the 6, yeah. That was right. I remember that. Right. Anyway, thank you so much, mate. Always a pleasure. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy. Have a good one. Good night. This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the Spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.